Ladies and gentlemen, batting fourth for your American League champion Milwaukee Brewers of 1982. Let's have an Endter's round of applause for Stormin Gorman Thomas. Hey! How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good. I got to give you one of those Greek hugs when we're done, if that's all right.
We'll work on it. You want to put this on?
So Pat buys the sauce, and they worked it out that Gorman was kind enough to come over.
Like this?
So when we do our Super Bowl trivia podcast, Packers Super Bowl trivia, we're going to have gift certificates for you, and you will also get, if you win, a jar of Stormin sauce. How about that? Pat Enders, thank you. Stormin, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
How you doing, man?
He called me this morning and said,
Yeah.
you coming over?
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm going to stay home and watch the ball game.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And I told him who was going to win. So
Yeah.
he said, okay. That's
Who is going to win, in your opinion?
I think it's L.A.
Really? I like that. Does anybody want the Patriots to win? Okay. All right.
Oh, I've always been a Brady fan.
Yeah. Oh,
I
you
think
got to love the domination, right?
Well, it's down to the point now we got the young players,
Yeah.
and we got the old goat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the old goat can play, though. He's got a lot of game left in him.
Super Bowl 53 coming your way. I mean, you have to give him credit, right? What is this? I think 8 straight AFC championship wins. It's
like that.
crazy, you know?
What, 4 out of 6?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you doing out here anyway?
Well, we're doing a little
I
podcast.
understand you went to Mass this morning. Why didn't you tell me?
You know,
over there.
is that right? I went to Mass, and I got it. Pat Enders, by the way, many of you may know him. I'm sure you do. We really want to thank him because he's been the host of this. We got a little podcast going. But I noticed that it was sold out at St. Charles today in Heartland. Now, I know we're there to worship the good Lord, but I got to think that because Pat's an usher, that he brought a lot of people in. He's so darn popular, you
He
know?
goes in with 2 bands.
Yeah, he hit me up about 4 times, and I'm not sure it was all for the collection.
Well, he told me you were going to be here, and I said, sure.
Well,
and then I figured I'd go see Father Ken tonight at 6. No mass tonight.
I like him. Father Ken has his own bobblehead, by the way, around. Some of you may be aware of that. So we started this little podcast, Packers-centric, but hey, your Brewers, the Bucks, you name it, as it becomes appropriate. And we're going to have a little fun. So we're getting that going. We've got Mike, who shoots the video, and Brent, who is our content guy, and Pat has been nice enough to allow us to host it here. But enough of that. We'll talk more about that later. I want to find out how you're doing and how is life.
I'm on that TV right now playing golf.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I want
Yeah.
to do.
Is your game still as good as ever?
I haven't played. I haven't played in a year. Got this thing here going on.
Yeah.
I spent more time on the highways. I'm actually a road warrior now. And now I know what those
So
semi-drivers
yeah,
do.
see, I knew you could market and sell with that personality of yours. You're getting this thing
It's
going?
not the good looks anymore.
Well, that too. That too. You
No,
know,
it's easy to sell. Once people taste it, they like it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do. You have to get them over the phobia. It's mustard based.
yeah.
There's nothing like it for 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
So once they taste it, they like it.
And how involved were you, Stormin, in the actual context?
Oh, that's
of
mine.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
recipe.
fantastic.
I made it about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Kept taking it to the ballpark, and actually, quick story. There was these 5 older ladies, okay, mid to 60s, close to 70s.
Hey, you know, we're in that range, right?
I am now.
You know,
That's
that's
why I'm
us.
polite about
That's
it.
us, buddy. It ain't 82 anymore.
I understand that. So anyway, long story short, she says to me, don't you have anything other than put on pulled pork? And I said, why is that? She says, this red stuff is not getting it done. So I said, okay, I'll bring you something next homestand. And I've made some, brought it in, and they fell in love with it. That was a kickstart right there.
Fantastic.
That's all it was.
That is awesome. Just a brief story. Back in '82, one of the last times I saw my dad alive, I grew up in upstate New York, was the '82 World Series. My father was an old Pittsburgh Pirates farmhand. And they could tell right away that you were my guy, because my father said, how's your boy Stormin going to do in these games here at County Stadium? We had a lot of fun, and my mother, who grew up in Greece, the country of, when we got done, it was such a joyous time, and she said, Tom, she still has that little Greek accent. Bless her heart, she just turned 88 on January 24th. She said, Tom, yeah, very grateful to have her. Dad's been gone a long time. It's one of the last times I saw Dad alive. But she said, Tom, we've got to go to the World Series every year. The World Series. Let me ask you this, current Brewers, Will this team, in our lifetime, be in another World Series? We're getting the current Brewers under Messrs. Stearns and Council get to a fall class. Obviously, they came within a game.
Yeah, I think the thing is that last year was a pleasant surprise. We didn't know whether we were going to, contend or not. I mean, we had 15 different second basemen. We had 55 different, starting pitchers. We had different closers. I mean, everything was this. You got a third baseman playing second base and a second baseman playing short, and short he's playing, on the bench. And the guy who had 11 home runs the first month of the season last year, he's not even playing.
Yeah.
So you had no idea what was going on. And when you lose a couple of pitchers, starters that you depend on with Davies and Chase, Anderson, both of them are, I think they're fantastic, but, both of them went down. You lost Nelson for the whole season. So it was a great surprise for everybody, and then at the end of the year when it was really getting, nail-biting time, the fans came out and cheered them on. And it always made a difference when you had a nice crowd, So then you had that crazy starting rotation thing here. You got your closing going for two, and then you got the middleman, never understood it.
Right.
And Woodruff, when he hit that home run off of Kershaw,
Yeah.
holy, almost had a bad word. Oh, I just told my wife.
Shnikes.
I just told my wife, we were sitting there, and he fouled off a pitch. I mean, straight back. I said, honey, you smell that? She says, what are you talking about? I said, when you swung at the ball and you fouled it straight back, you could smell it. You could smell the horsehide. And I said, I can smell it from here. If he throws him in that turbo nitro zone, he's going to hit one out of here. Next pitch,
Wow.
3/4 of the way up the damn
Darn right.
scoreboard.
Darn
But
right.
it was a great year. You can't not say anything great. So, all that being said, the answer to the question is, if they are healthy, there's no reason why they can't do the same.
Yeah, that's exciting too. Pat, did we have a question back there? Yes, Kirk.
Hey, Gorman. Thanks for coming.
That's Kirk.
One quick thing. My wife, Barb, back in 1982, she won like a spelling bee or something at Cudahy High School.
A national spelling bee, but who's keeping track?
Before that, she was given the opportunity to go into the dugout and meet all the Brewers. She decided not to go. So now she's meeting Gorman Thomas.
Hi.
All these years later.
They're gone. I've got some friends of mine. My second cousin, he got drafted, and he passed on going to play baseball because his girlfriend didn't want him to leave town. He regrets it to this day. And then another friend of mine I went to high school with, he was drafted by the New York Giants as a tight end. He played for South Carolina. His girlfriend didn't want him to leave. He regrets it every day as well. So when you get a chance, go. We went to the Miller Brewery the other day. My in-laws were in town. I'd never been there, and I've been here for, don't sneak up on me like that, 46 years, and had never been there. So it was quite a trip. But thank you anyway.
Two questions though. A two-part question. Your most memorable catch and your most memorable home run.
Good Lord. Let's just say the first one I hit, I'll have to remember that one the most. It was off of Jim Palmer, April something, 2-2 slider. They said he didn't throw a slider, but he threw a slider and I hit it. Well, it was nice hitting a grand slam off of Louis Tiant all the way around the bases. He's and I think the catch is not one, you never planned on doing it. It's just when I was 6, I read a book by Mickey Mantle. And he said I went after every ball like I was going to catch it. And I surprised myself sometimes. And that's basically what it was with me. Me being a center fielder, larger than most people, center field, I had to get a good jump on the ball. So that being said, I think the one catch that I remember most was in the World Series. The hitter got got 2 RBIs on 1 sacrifice fly because my knee gave out because I'd hurt it against the Angels during the playoffs. So I remember that a lot, So it wasn't about me. I mean, it was all for one for all, It was just a pleasure playing with those guys. So you weren't thinking about yourself.
That was a special group, obviously, and you were playing hurt. Pete Vukovich had a shoulder that needed a rotator repair, right? And it's amazing how
That
you
body
guys
needs
gutted
a
it
lot of
out.
work, I wanna tell you.
Yeah. You
Lobotomy
made,
would have been nice. Oh, speaking of that, I heard yesterday that Mike Caldwell's wife is very sick, and I haven't had a chance to look up the disease. And she's got 2 to 4 weeks to live.
really. I'm sorry. What's her
We
name?
just found out.
Yeah. What's her
Linda's
first
Linda.
name?
Linda.
Linda will keep her in our
And a
prayers
friend of
for
mine, he
sure.
died too. He pitched here many years ago. His name was Tom Houseman.
I remember him.
Yep.
Yeah.
He died January 16th. I just found that out yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been kind of like a sad year. And I had 3 people that are longtime friends. They committed suicide. So it's been a rough.
Very
It's been a
sorry.
rough year on me.
Very
I'm telling you
sorry.
right now.
Got another question here. You guys ready?
Have you ever
Oh,
played
yeah.
with Robin Young or Fred Fielder?
Yes, I played with Robin. He joined the club here, I think, in '74. And in my estimation, everyday player, he was the best. He never came to the ballpark ever not wanting to play, even if we were getting blown out. He wanted to finish the game. He was just a fantastic guy. Of course, now he's kind of. Anybody here old enough to remember Dr. Cadaverino? No. Okay. It was a local show, remember? Oh, God. He was also Albert the Alley Cat, too. But anyway, he looks like 20 miles of bad road. Dyes his hair about every other day. And Jimmy Gantner and I, we get on his chain about that. But he was the best player that I played with and against.
So all those years ago, my stepdaughter, a beautiful lady who's an attorney, brilliant, and she helps us out immensely, was born in 1982. But all these years later, now my math tells me she's 25, is that right? I think you're just 25, Melissa. But all these years later, Stormin, you guys are still revered. You came so close. If Raleigh Faders is healthy, I think old-timers such as ourselves would say, yeah, they'd have won it all. But it just seems as if you folks still resonate with Brewers fans everywhere you go.
Well, it was an honor to play here. Never would have wanted to play anyplace else. We had a group of misfits, if you would, and we owe it all to one person, George Bamberger. Even though he came here in '78, we got to the series in '82. But George gave a lot of guys a lot of chance to play, and I, for one, would not have had a career at all if it hadn't been for him. So, God bless him, I know that.
Yeah, Bambi's Bombers. Yes, sir.
Gorman, do you feel that the baseballs are juiced the way they're flying out of the ballpark these days?
Some years I do. I do believe they are juicing it because they want the fans to be happy with the runs that are scored. Then on the other hand, you have some, what would you call it, New England gate, frozen or whatever. But all the ballparks are smaller, and this is not crying poor mouth. Power alley in this one here is 365. It's inside, and it just goes farther. Pittsburgh, they tell me, is a launching pad. Philadelphia, the guys actually are bigger. They're stronger. They're in better shape all the time. So you have to give them that. I think they've cleaned it up where the steroids is not an issue anymore. We didn't have that. If it had been legal, I probably would have taken it, to be honest with you. But if it's designated as illegal, well, you're supposed to stop. They're kind of monitoring the situation really good now, because there's been a couple guys that had 15, 16, 17 different passes, if you will, and 2 of them are dead. So. It is what it is, but you got to keep the game clean. You want to do a good representation, or show a good representation to young gentlemen like this, or little girls or whatever. And you want to be able to go to the ball game in a safe environment too. California with L.A. and Frisco, that poor guy, he got beat up. He spent months and months. It's great to have an arch rival, if you will. But you also want to be able to go to the ballpark and enjoy yourself. So I got off the ball real quick, but I didn't mean to. But that's just the way it is.
Any other questions?
Hey, Gorman, In your career, who was the most difficult or toughest pitcher that you had to face? I know you're a fastball hitter, but which guy would you consider?
Actually, the truth be known, I did better against the known guys, the big guys, the big prominent guys, or not knowing anything about the pitcher that's out there. Because he knows you, but you don't know him. So, they all want to, you always want to take a shot at the champ, right? Everybody want to go after Apollo Creed, or Rocky. But, so if they plunk you, you feel like they got a feather in the cap. And then we got to go out there and, take care of business.
Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
Elvis is in the house.
But, it's, there's certain guys, like, I really don't like the idea of showing off when you hit a home run or striking somebody else out. They're taking away the collision with the catcher. They're taking away the breaking up the double play at second base. Those are the first two things you learn, If you're having a bad day, you're 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, which I didn't have 5, I had 4 once. But you're just praying for contact. I mean, just a situation where you can take your anger off and out and on somebody. So, and God forbid you show up Nolan Ryan, hit a home run off of him, you're going to show him up, because you're going to come back up the back. But I got it twice. And both times they said, "Were you looking at him?" I said, "Oh, hell no." And same thing with Gossett still. So, yeah, that's all it was. If the first time you think that you were beaten mentally, you got no chance.
I think many people have said the toughest thing to do in sport is to hit a baseball coming at you close to 100, and sometimes with break and variation of speeds, right?
Well, it's also, what I think the statement is actually, you're trying to hit a round ball with a round bat and hit it square. Figure that one out. And, I think a lot of these guys that they see are throwing 105 miles an hour. I really don't think that's true. I really don't. I think I hit against 2 players in my life that threw about maybe 100 miles an hour. And that was Nolan Ryan and Goose Gossett when he was young. Oh, my Lord. He was 18-1 in the Midwest League here, 1971. Had a .62 ERA. I mean, he was just over dominant. But we had Vukovic and Caldwell. Neither one of them could break a window from here. But the two of them, I mean, it was a match set of mules. I mean, you wanted to win, put one of those two out there because they'll give you everything and what you have. I really mean that.
Any other questions? I don't want to hold you too long because then Pat's going to have to pay you. This is a wonderful celebrity appearance. Oh, you did? All right, good. Very good. All right. Well, he's a good businessman now. But I've got to say this, and again, a lot of you are younger, but Gorman Thomas was one of the hardest playing athletes I ever came across. And he wore his heart on his sleeve. He still does. He was like we are here in Wisconsin, honest, hard-working people, and buddy, you just resonated with them, and you're one of us, and we appreciate you. And your humility always stood out, no matter whether you hit 4 home runs or
That's
whatever
enough
the
said
case.
about me. We didn't come here for that. I just want to say thank you because you're the reason why I came. Because I think you've always been the perfect gentleman, and you know what you do.
Thank you,
So
sir.
thank you again. It's always a pleasure seeing you, Tom.
Well, like my dad said, you were always my favorite. We love you, we thank you. And thank you for making Stormin Sauce available here in our little podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Gorman Thomas, everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody wants to know how his golf game is.
Yeah, talk about that. Just a comment,
What's that?
a parting comment about your golf game.
I don't have one. Really, I like.
Well, that's all that matters now.
Well, I can make it spin. I can't cut it. I spell cut Hook. So I haven't hit any hills over there in Bristolville lately. But I'm gonna play a lot of it. I'm gonna play a lot. I had some things cut out of my arm last year, so I couldn't practice like I wanted to. But I'm looking forward to it. Both my grandsons, I'm teaching them how to play golf. They're 8 and 10 now. Both of them play lacrosse and baseball and basketball. So, and I've got a little granddaughter. I'm going to end it with all this. I've got a little granddaughter. She'll be 2 come April. And yesterday she didn't like something. She was in the high chair eating. She picked up her glass of milk. Right over the top. My first grandson was born. Over the top. She fired that damn thing out. I will get somebody else in trouble, I'll tell you right now.
Grandpa Gorman, it doesn't get any better than that. Thank you very much, Stormin. Thanks again. You're the best, Gorman.